Hello, welcome to Container.
Hey,
Hi, Jesse.
good morning, Justin. How you doing?
I'm doing just fine. We are coming to you live today. I am in beautiful downtown LA at Kubecon. And Jesse, where are you at?
I'm in beautiful Midcoast, Maine. I'm your virtual co-host.
It's going to be an amazing day. And I realized last night, actually, I'm in LA, you're in Maine. Bob's going to join us here pretty soon in Seattle. And later on, we're going to have Jay down in Florida. And that's like all corners of the United States. And that's just pretty cool.
We're basically, this is Kubecon NA. So we got one of the countries sorted. We just got to get some folks in Canada. We got to get some folks in Mexico going on. Yeah, welcome everybody. We have a full agenda for you today. This is our Day Zero co-located event at Kubecon NA 2021. For those of you in LA, welcome to LA. For those of you joining us remotely, virtually, from wherever around the globe, welcome. We have an awesome agenda. We're going to talk about all things Kubernetes on AWS. We're going to talk about some EKS roadmap updates, some features. We're going to talk about a ton of open source projects that we have going. But we're going to kick it off here in a little bit. Justin.
Rambo 3349, I think nailed it right here. We're just going to apply some YAML and get the schedule kicked off because this is going to be a fun day. So if anyone sound off in the comments where you're coming from, we would love to hear questions as we're going throughout the day. Different sessions have multiple opportunities to ask questions, get answers directly from people working at AWS on open source projects. There's a lot of cool stuff just planned today. So I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. And before we get to our first session, just want to remind everybody, since this is a co-located event at KubeCon, we are following the KubeCon Code of Conduct, which everybody can reference on the KubeCon website. Basically, this boils down to just being awesome to each other and being respectful of your co-viewers. So with that, should we kick things off?
Yeah, it sounds good. Let's bring in Bob. And I'm loving seeing the comments of people all over the world. So this is great.
That's awesome.
Hey, Bob.
Hi there, Jesse, Justin.
Hey, Bob.
Good morning from my corner of the U.S.
So we are happy to have you. So Bob Wise, for those folks who don't know, is the general manager of Kubernetes at AWS, and he is here to kick things off with his typical first session keynote.
Excellent. Let's kick it.
Yeah, let's pull in your slide deck. And Jesse and I are going to drop for you for a second. And Bob, you can take it away.
Great. Well, hello there. I'm Bob Wise, Kubernetes GM at AWS. Our team helps customers with Kubernetes, whether that's a managed service like EKS, running Kubernetes on AWS on your own, using Kubernetes with open source projects that we work on, like EKS Anywhere, EKS Distro, or CDKs. If you're having trouble with your schedule YAML, CDKs might be a good way to go, just saying. So welcome to our 6th container day. Wow, 6. We're 100% live, mostly virtual from all corners of the US, and we're hosted by Containers from the Couch. Thanks, guys. Some of us are streaming from our home offices. We have folks streaming from Kubecon. We do have a booth, but it's casual this year. We have a few people there for Ask the Experts, and you're welcome to come hang out. Moderators are also here to answer as many questions as possible live, and follow up with us after the event. Join the Slack channel. Thanks for joining us. Jam-packed day and 3 acts here. Stick around for the session right after this for our focus on security, the roadmap session, talk about EKS Anywhere and Connector, a lot of project updates in the afternoon, and a delicious slice of ACK, CDKs, and hybrid right in the middle. Let's start with reviewing our team mission. Our mission is to bring you the Kubernetes you want while delivering better efficiency with less toil. We strive to deliver customers the best possible Kubernetes experience with security, operations, scaling expertise. We have customers with production workloads in a variety of industries, startups to massive enterprise workloads. We We also work to be sure that other AWS services have fantastic integration with Kubernetes. Special call out for the ACK session in the second act. That's one of the ways we do that. We both create and engage with open source projects, and open source is one of our favorite ways to collaborate with our customers. We have stayed very busy since the last Container Day. This is just a teaser. Alan and Mike are going to cover this in detail during the roadmap session, so please stick around for that talk. We also have some related launches to talk about since we last met. First up, Amazon Managed Service for Prometheus is a fully managed Prometheus monitoring service. Prior to this launch, a managed Prometheus service was one of the most highly requested new services from EKS customers, just constantly folks asking about it. So I'm very happy to be talking about this as a GA service. With the AWS Managed Service for Prometheus, you can run Prometheus, including PromQL at scale, easily, securely, use it to monitor containers on AWS and on premises, reduce your operational costs, maximize the impact of using AWS observability services. It also includes an API. It makes it easy for you to adjust and query metrics from self-managed Kubernetes clusters running on AWS. And what's little Prometheus without some Grafana to go with it? So we also have Amazon Managed Grafana as a fully managed service for making it easy to build visualizations for developers, operators, business leaders, for application monitoring, wherever your data is stored. With Amazon Managed Service for Grafana, you can easily and securely run Grafana at scale. So it's based on the open source Grafana project, extends the power of Grafana further by managing provisioning, setup, scaling, maintenance, all that toil. It natively integrates with AWS data services and data sources, and provides plugins for on-premises and third-party cloud services. No upfront investment, pay only a monthly active user fee. We also launched the AWS distro for Open Telemetry as a open source distro of Open Telemetry. All of the enhancements that AWS will be adding to OT are going to be done upstream. We will not fork the project, just as we don't fork Kubernetes. Toolkit is packaged and ready for production use, well tested, validated for performance. To send your observability data to EKS from these managed services, as well as any other observability partner you may be using, we're investing in Open Telemetry, and in the future will be available as an EKS add-on. I'm sure Mike and Alan are going to cover this later, but just a reminder, the EKS roadmap is on GitHub in public, as are the other container services within the AWS portfolio. You can see what people are saying, upvote and comment on things. Our product management team is deeply engaged in this. Submit your own ideas if you think there's something missing. If you go there, this is what you'll see. And I just created a view here with EKS related issues tagged as EKS and filtered for this view. But you can do the same for other container services like Fargate, ECR, ECS, and so forth. We love talking about our customers, our partners, and our heroes. Let's first give a shout out to our heroes. I'm sure many of these are familiar faces. Hopefully you'll get to see a few of them around Kubecon this year. Here's a few of our customers across some of the industry segments we serve. Thanks to all these customers for constantly giving us feedback, helping us build EKS to be what it is that you need. But I'd like to talk about one great example of an EKS customer. New Relics started its migration to AWS to take advantage of a number of fully managed services, including Amazon EKS and Amazon Managed Streaming for Apache Kafka, MSK, and has become one of the largest consumers of these services. While New Relic's migration to Amazon EKS from self-managed is still ongoing, the company is already running many EKS clusters with over 19,000 total nodes and 150,000 pods, with plans to triple these numbers over the next year. We are together excited about New Relic's Pixie Labs, and the EKS team is planning to add Managed Pixie to our add-ons portfolio next year. We also love the dog food. We use and support EKS on our own services. The Amazon.com front page uses EKS, as does Amazon Kinesis data streams. Amazon EMR can target EKS clusters as an option. And Amazon Managed Service for Prometheus and Managed Service for Grafana are built on EKS. So I was doubly excited to talk about those launches. We have a wide portfolio of container partners. Let me call out a few. Weaveworks empowers enterprises to unlock cloud-native agility with GitOps. The Weave Kubernetes platform enables teams to design and operate Kubernetes platforms at scale. Datadog provides visibility into the health of containers and VMs across a lot of environments, on premises, hybrid, cloud compute infrastructure. Sysdig empowers organizations to secure containers, Kubernetes, and cloud services. Sysdig is a SaaS platform built on an open source project called Falco. Portworx provides the data services that allow Jenkins, the open source automation server, to deploy at scale with EKS on AWS or Outposts. And soon Portworx backup will be launching on AWS Marketplace. Aqua Security is a long-standing partner that has worked with AWS customers to secure their cloud-native architectures and containerized applications. Well, thanks to those partners. A special note here of partners that joined us for the recent EKS Anywhere launch, which launched with 35 partners, and we're continuing to add partners as we go. We have a broad, rich container ecosystem to help augment AWS capabilities and provide lots of choices for operational software. Open source projects and AWS partner products help container users take advantage of AWS services and features. Working with our partners, AWS can help you successfully deploy container services for your applications. AWS is there to support you in all your container needs. We worked closely with Red Hat to launch Red Hat OpenShift service on AWS earlier this year. We call this service Rosa. Rosa is a managed OpenShift service jointly operated and supported by AWS and Red Hat. Rosa has a console listing, pay-as-you-go billing on a single invoice through AWS, and the option to contact AWS for support. If you're already running OpenShift on-prem or elsewhere, Rosa is the easiest way to run those workloads on AWS. So of course, anyone using Kubernetes on AWS is going to be using a wide array of other AWS services, and AWS has the broadest set of these services. Technologies, tools to build applications on containers, integrations with open source, AWS partner technologies. Many of our project contributions help any customer running Kubernetes on AWS, whether that's through EKS or another platform. There's no one right way to build EKS, and indeed our larger customers build in multiple ways. We have the most choice in data plane options, including Fargate, EC2, that includes ARM, AMD, Intel instances, special purpose hardware, GPU instances. For example, we offer integrations with EBS, EFS, and FSX for stateful applications that need storage. You can use native AWS security and authentication services to ensure your clusters are configured securely. EKS will automatically provision AWS networking services to provision load balancers, configure your VPCs, and set up Route 53. In addition, EKS integrates with both AWS native and third-party tools to provide multiple options for observability, including Container Insights, Prometheus, Grafana, to name a few. And while there's no one right way to run Kubernetes, we believe using GitOps to manage Kubernetes clusters is the best practice. And you might have noticed that Flux is part of the EKS Anywhere offering and will be coming to EKS as an add-on as well. We believe Flux is a foundational component for running GitOps in Kubernetes. This is also why we're investing in projects like ACK to provide a declarative Kubernetes style API for managing AWS resources. So what is ACK again? Customers who deploy applications are looking to provision supporting AWS services, databases, message queues, object stores. And while AWS provides a set of managed services to provide resources for these apps, provisioning them and integrating them with Kubernetes is potentially complex. AWS Controllers for Kubernetes is an open source project, lets you define and consume these services directly from the Kubernetes cluster and gives you a consistent way to manage the lifetime of your applications and its dependencies. We've talked about this at Container Day in the past. We've made a lot of progress on ACK since the last Container Day. A bunch of controllers in preview: S3, Dynamo, ECR, SNS, API gateway, step functions, Lambda, more. Also EKS for those who want to use ACK to manage EKS from within EKS, which is an awesome inception idea. We also have work in progress on IAM and SQS, and we are really excited about 2 controllers that should be going GA in the next few weeks, and that's SageMaker and Elasticache. And call out here, if you're interested in contributing, we'd love to have your help. ACK is one of the projects that we work on. There are more. Security has been and will always be job zero at AWS. The Kubernetes team is no exception. We are actively involved in the Kubernetes community to shape security roadmap, participate in managing CVEs and so forth. We've open source components to simplify the deployment and management of Kubernetes on AWS. Our open source contributions and involvement, while we do that on Kubernetes, extend beyond Kubernetes. Notably, we're etcd maintainers. We have EKS distro, which is open source and available to anyone to use the same upstream Kubernetes bits we use as part of EKS. EKS Anywhere is open source. CDK is our open source development kit for defining applications, useful for customers anywhere they run Kubernetes, and is a CNCF sandbox project. We've already talked about ACK, of course, but we have more Carpenter, CNI, CSI drivers. Special call out there for Carpenter. We'll talk more about that later. Big shout out here to the etcd team with version 3.5. EKS manages more clusters than any other service in the world. We're uniquely positioned to push and test the scale limits and error handling of etcd as a result. So this is a lot of what's in etcd 3.5 is things that came from the AWS team. Future roadmaps we're working with the community on include support for long-range streams, selective throttling, better load shedding, higher scale, and higher traffic Kubernetes clusters. Check out that blog post, it's a good one. CDKs. You can use this to define applications for any Kubernetes cluster, running anywhere, running locally in your dev environment, part of your CI automation, help get your Kubernetes YAML under control. You can use it from TypeScript, JavaScript, Python, Java, Go. You can import objects from any Kubernetes API version and CRDs. This makes it easy to use CDKs to write entire applications, keep them up to date without context switching between your favorite programming language and YAML. Join members of the development team later today for project update. So let's shift gears here a little bit, talk about deploying Kubernetes in any environment. We now offer multiple deployment options for Amazon EKS for both in-region and outposts. We include support for deployments onto customer self-managed compute with EKS Anywhere. With EKS Distro, we open source the Kubernetes version that Amazon uses for EKS. This is the same version of Kubernetes that EKS offers, same major, minor patch version. So this is a result of all the work that AWS does to test, certify, and build EKS when they're released. EKS Distro is part of the EKS Anywhere project. And with EKS Anywhere, we're providing that same stable and secure validated version of Kubernetes that EKS does. EKS Anywhere is built on the open source cluster API, usually referred to as CAPI. So you're not locked into any proprietary technology. It includes cluster lifecycle management tooling to let customers get a consistent operational experience. We also bundle key components, networking, storage, and we know that while a lot of customers have virtualized environments, a lot of our customers have been telling us they really want to run in a bare metal environment. So that's the next big thing up for EKS Anywhere, is to run in bare metal environments, in addition to the virtualized environments we're supporting today. EKS Anywhere is a highly available Kubernetes control plane, deployment via cluster API, integrates with EKS control. We're using the Cilium CNI. Support is available from AWS. Authentication is via OIDC provided by the customer. We do have EKS console integration via EKS connector. However, the connection back to AWS or EKS, if you're using a connector, is optional. You can run air-gapped or in an occasionally connected mode. We are really excited about this. EKS provides an integrated dashboard for viewing your Kubernetes clusters across various deployment options, including on-premises with EKS Anywhere through EKS Connector. We're constantly updating the console to expose more details. So cluster operators and application developers can now use EKS as a single place to organize, visualize, troubleshoot Kubernetes applications, whether running on EKS or elsewhere. The EKS dashboard is hosted in the console and is available automatically for all EKS clusters. Please be sure to stay tuned later for a deep dive session on EKS Connector. All right, so here's a fun topic: networking at scale, which is pretty hard. And I'm sure most of you have seen slides like this before in a Kubernetes environment and containerized environments generally. You see 1 to 2, sometimes even 3 orders of magnitude in difference between running in a virtualized environment and a containerized environment. And the more you move towards a microservices kind of deployment and development approach, the more extreme this gets. So IPv6 is not new, has been around since the 90s, but has always been the next project for most organizations and applications. And especially in an environment, a hybrid environment, some enterprises are struggling to allocate unique public and private IPv4 addresses that don't overlap between their on-premises and on-cloud environments. I'm sure some of you have heard this before: 500 billion IP addresses, enough for every grain of sand on the planet. We would, if we had been using IPv6, we would have so far consumed a trillionth of the available address space. So there's a lot of headroom here. And consequently, EKS support for IPv6 is coming soon. So one of the first bottlenecks you hit, as we said, was networking. And to be clear, what we're going to be launching here is not Kubernetes dual stack support, because that doesn't help with IPv4 address exhaustion. Rather, we're launching support for IPv6 only pods. So when this feature launches, you'll give each pod a globally unique IPv6 address instead of a VPC unique IPv4 address, allowing you to scale far beyond the IP address limitations you may have now in existing IPv4 based VPCs. Even with IPv6 only pods, EKS will configure networking so pods can still communicate with IPv4 endpoints outside the cluster, allowing you to take advantage of IPv6 benefits without waiting on the rest of your networking transformations. We'll be launching this in the coming weeks. Stay tuned, and there is an IPv6 session later today. So more scaling challenges here. While we work on ensuring the Kubernetes control plane scaling, of course, you also need to ensure that the compute connected to the cluster and being managed by the cluster is scaling to your needs, scaling up, scaling down. We will continue to support the Kubernetes cluster autoscaler, but for really big clusters or for clusters that need to scale up, scale down very fast or very large, we think an alternate approach is worth considering. This is the Carpenter project. Check it out on GitHub. We've been listening closely to customer feedback. Project has been evolving. We're working hard to get the project to the 1.0 release level. And again, there's a session later today. Few call outs here for Kubecon. We're extra excited about a few special sessions here: GitOps, security, Kubernetes on AWS, all topics that we love. And wanted to also point to a couple of things here. Since I didn't talk about all the projects during my comments here, wanted to point out two sessions here you may be interested in. Customers have been really excited about BottleRocket. Container optimized open source OS is a perfect fit for many customers using EKS or using Kubernetes. Make sure you stay and go to the BottleRocket talk. Running applications in multiple clusters is a really interesting topic. Could probably have done a whole keynote on this and kind of related topics. We're seeing more and more of multi-cluster applications as customers scale their use of Kubernetes. So check that out during the third act. Wanted to say thanks very much to the containers from the Couch crew. And with that, I'm done.